You don't know about them boots, huh? You don't know about the...
You're stupid.
You know what I'm saying? Pretend you're a bear. You know what I'm
Roar.
saying? No, not you. Pretend you're a bear, ready? Oh!
You're not supposed to run.
Too fast. Even for a bear.
All right, so this video is gonna be about that little trip I took 2 years ago where I lived in a van for a long period of time, AKA when I did van life. Now, this video is long overdue. I mean, I've talked to a lot of friends and family about the trip and then people that I meet here and there, but I've never formally made a video about it and showed clips and really elaborated on my experience. So I wanna do that now. You know, like the saying goes, now or never. And I've been kind of pushing off on it for quite a while. So this video is really gonna be, again, about van life, but it's for people that are interested in doing van life, photographers that are interested in doing it, or just taking a long road trip across the US. And then just a video for also like my friends and family that still don't know about my trip and what I feel about it, what I experienced and whatnot. So that's basically gonna be what the video is about. I hope you guys enjoy. I will be throwing in some photos and clips of the trip in here. So I don't know what it's gonna look like yet, but I'm sure the edit is gonna be fine. So hope you guys enjoy. All right, so I basically wanna go over kind of the basics of what this video is gonna be about so you guys know the conversation we're gonna have and know the direction I'm gonna take. So I wanna just start off by saying why we took the trip, or sorry, when we took the trip, why we took it, and then how did we afford it, which was like a super common question that everyone always has when it comes to van life. Whether they want to ask it or not. All right, so when did we take this trip? We took this trip back in 2022. We started the actual build of the van in 2021. And then from, I think, March all the way to December, we were actually living on the road, minus like a month where we had to come back to Florida for a family emergency. And then really it's like, why? So why did we take this trip, right? A lot of friends joked with me about me taking a retirement trip. Like, yo, this is a trip that like old people do. Why don't you go to Europe or like other continents and whatever? I just wanted to go around the States and it's easy to do in a van, right? So, or I guess whichever way is easier. But the reason we took it is we had the time and we had the money, right? I got the idea from someone I met at an airport, another photographer, and they lived in a van and I had never known about that life. I never knew about RVing much, you know, other than like in comedy movies. But the whole building out your own little camper van and doing this massive road trip was a new concept to me, and I got obsessed with it pretty quickly. I used to just joke with Caitlin about, hey, we should do this van trip and blah, 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 and we can do this and see that. And look at these videos of these people building their own van out. And she always was kind of just chill about it until one time we actually really talked and I was like, yo, would you be down? And she was like, nah, I'm down, like dead ass, like, let's do it. And I'm like, there's no way, like you're joking, you're not really serious. And nah, she was dead ass. So we basically from there just started planning out how we can make this happen. And then it just kept growing and growing until we actually took the trip. Now, as far as affording it, pretty simple. Savings and credit cards. Literally that simple, which I'm still paying for now. I don't have a problem with that, but it's pretty much it. We also did sell both of our cars. Kate had a newer BMW and I had a 350Z. So selling both of our cars, we had the money to buy the van, which is only $4,000 itself. And then we also had money to build the van out, which cost us about $12,000 to build it out, all the materials and whatnot. So it wasn't bad overall. And then we budgeted how much we were gonna spend on the road as well. So it lasted us almost a year, really, until we had to go back home. And I also day traded while I was on the road, which supported me with like getting gas and food here and there. Now the van itself was an older van. We didn't have no fancy Sprinter like these people be having, right? That they take out these loans out just so that they can have something nice, which is a great idea, honestly. If you don't like have any major car payments or if you have your own mortgage elsewhere, renting out, I mean, getting a loan for a bigger van is nice, just saying. But we got a 2001 Chevy Express and it was the conversion van, so it had a higher roof and it was like one of those old school vans where, like, I'm sure some of your family members might have had them, where you can have a bed in the back and it came with like the VCR and small TV. Yeah, we had that. We completely gutted it and then we built it ourselves on the inside with insulation and electricity and all that. And then on the outside we made some updates, like new tires, well, a whole new wheel setup. We updated a bit of the suspension and then we made sure that the AC was on point. The stupid thing we did, which I didn't even think about it, was we got rid of the heater. I didn't expect us to be in the winter, like out and about, but we were, and it was cold as hell, especially in the Pacific Northwest when we got there. Just things happened and we basically got there during the winter time, which was not the plan. But it is what it is. The van itself though, I could stand in the middle of the van where the sink was. I didn't really have a problem. And there wasn't really much walking space to begin with. So it's like the headspace didn't really matter because I kind of just crawled to the front. I could stand when I wanted to brush my teeth and do dishes. And then the bed was basically right there. So there was no standing up on the bed. It's just for laying down basically. So it wasn't a bad setup. Honestly, it wasn't bad with two people. There was definitely like some struggles, but if you were just one person, a Chevy Express is the perfect size. Just a box top would be nice instead of like that curved look. But yeah, so now to talk a little bit about the actual trip itself, right? If you're coming here as a photographer watching this video, I want to elaborate a little bit on that. So we went to 40 states and 26 national parks. National parks obviously is where a lot of photographers go for their landscape shots. And I gotta say, as honestly, the freedom that I got from that was insane. When you go on vacation or if you plan out like a photo trip, right, where you want to go and get these street shots or landscape shots, there's a certain amount of time. Everyone has work, right? So you have a week or maybe you take a long weekend and it's great, but in the back of your head, you're just like, man, I got to go back to work after this, you know, or I got to go back home. I got to take care of these responsibilities. That's kind of always there. And being able to be in a van and just camp at a spot, right, for days on end, for however long, and not worry about like, hey, time's running up. Like we gotta go back home. We gotta catch this flight. We gotta drive back home. It was a different type of freedom. My job, right, or my only real goal on the trip was, let's find a beautiful place, let's photograph it, and let's sleep there. That was literally it. Just where's the next place we can go to? And there was no real plan also as where we were going. There was a few spots we wanted to hit, but we would literally get into a state, mark the places we wanted to go to, and then we would also figure out what else is around there, right? So we would look on social media, on the internet, some articles, and kind of see what we can find. But again, that type of freedom was like no other, and it definitely helped shift my perspective on a lot of things that I'll get to later on in the video. But again, just as a photographer itself, it's like that saying about a kid in a candy shop, right? There was endless possibilities, and I felt like it was a little bit much because I'm just like, what should I be photographing? I don't want to photograph everything, but I want to photograph everything. You know what I'm saying? So that part was tricky. I think the other part that was really hard was understanding what type of content I wanted to make between long form, short form, and then my photo content. So that was tricky. And I would have loved to have given that more thought earlier on before we even took the trip. But you know, hindsight is always 20/20. Now, as far as where did we go? So 40 states, 26 national parks. Long story short, we started in northern Florida. We drove all the way to Cleveland, Ohio, right? We had a concert to go see Amine there. We did stop on a few states on the way up, And then from Cleveland, Ohio, we went northeast all the way to Arcadia National Park in Maine. Stopped at all the states in between there. Made our way down to Boston. When we were in Boston, we were gonna keep going on the northeast, like coastal towns, which I was super excited about. But there was a family emergency back home that we had to drive back down to. So from Boston, we drove back home. And then from back home, when everything got cleared up, we went straight across back to the Midwest of the country, through the Dakotas, and then down through Utah, like Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, all that good stuff, into the southwestern states, to the West Coast, all the way up top to Washington, like the farthest you can go. And then we couldn't go to Montana and whatnot because it was already the dead of winter. And our van wasn't really prepared for like 5-degree temperatures and 10-degree temperatures. So from Washington, we made our way all the way back down to LA, and then from LA straight to Florida. All right, so now the interesting part, which is what everyone asked me, dude, what was your favorite spot? Where is like, what brings the greatest smile, like the biggest smile to your face, or what was the best experience? Okay, there was a few of them. I mean, there was a lot of them, but there's a few that I'm gonna just bring up here for the sake of the length of this video. So first things first, Grand Tetons, Wyoming is always gonna be number one. It's always what I talk about. And people are surprised about it, which I understand. Wyoming, like, come on, bro. But yes, Grand Tetons National Park in Wyoming. Jackson Hole was lovely. That place is incredible. The mountain range, the view, just absolutely surreal. And what made it even better is that we got to hang out with a friend, Zach, that was there. And he was a great tour guide for us. And we had so much fun the 3 days that we were there. Super memorable, like one of my favorite parts of the trip. The next thing would be the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. Dude, what the hell? Like, how was this? Like, our country's so beautiful. The Great Sand Dunes was such a great experience. There's a moment I had out there that I want to talk about in a second. But another place you should definitely visit, the Great Sand Dunes, Colorado. Great place to be. Insane landscape. All right, so next national park would basically be Redwoods in California. It was fall, so all of the leaves were changing. You have these massive trees around you. It just, the foliage, the temperature, it was chilly outside. Man, like Redwoods was, you were in like this mystical place. There's no other way to describe it. I fell in love with it. I would love to be there. I'm jealous of the people that have easy access to that in the West Coast, and it's somewhere that I would like to just be whenever I just need a moment to myself. So Redwoods is definitely another place you should check out, as well as the Sequoia National Park. Kind of go hand in hand to me. And then I would also say something that we did a lot was we would go to hot springs. That's another, like, first of all, there's so many hot springs in the West Coast of the United States, not so much in the East. There was like sulfur ones that like were actual hot springs that were kind of medicinal, and then there was other that were just like hot water. We went to a lot of them, dude, like in the snow, during fall, a little bit earlier on when it was still the summer. That was a great little thing to do, which again, like I said, we would get to a state, go to the places we wanted to, but we would also look for like hot springs. Like, yo, where can we go where we can just chill out and like take a nice hike and then hang out in some nice hot water. So hot springs were definitely top of the list of what we got to do. And then another memorable place was Lake Michigan. Chicago was sick to be at. We went to Lollapalooza, but Lake Michigan at the Indiana Dunes, which is a national park. It's a beach, basically. I didn't know that Lake Michigan was a beach. It was literally like being back home. It was very similar to like the West Coast of Florida, like Naples, like that kind of beach feel. Beautiful water. And then if you're in Lake Michigan at the Indiana Dunes, you're like dead smack of Lake Michigan, right? You're at the very bottom tip. And the cool thing about that is that we got there for sunrise. So we saw the sunrise on this side and we saw it go all the way through, right? And then we saw sunset on this side. And then during sunset, you see, from where you're at in Indiana, you see the Chicago skyline with the sunset behind it. Like, insane, dude. Like, there was so much stuff that didn't make sense that I'm so happy I got to see. But that's another one of like the top places I would go to if you're in the Chicago area. Go to the Indiana Dunes. So worth it. It literally so worth it. All right, now kind of going back to the sand dunes. So a lot of these feelings, I get that people have them and people understand them. It's kind of like, duh, dude, like that's obvious, but there's things that are obvious, but you don't feel them, right? Maybe you're just not in the right headspace, or you need to live it to really feel it, and hearing it doesn't really do much to you. And that's what this was. So in the sand dunes, we were climbing up the dunes, obviously, right? And I have this moment where I just look out and it's so quiet. All you hear is wind. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it was windy, but it was quiet. You know what I mean? But I'm standing up there and I'm just looking out into the mountains, the sand dunes. And it was just a weird moment where I realized, like, I get that this has been here, right? This landscape has been here for a long time, and it's gonna be here for a really long time after I die and whatnot. But the earth is so old that wasn't there a few 100,000 years ago, or however long ago, right? And it's only gonna last a certain amount. And the moment I had was just realizing that I appreciated so much that I am here right now in this part of our world history, right? The Earth's history. And being able to see this landscape and take photos of this landscape and be present. And I think that's all it was just me being present. And I struggle with being present because I'm always overthinking about the future. And it was really nice. It was a weird disconnect that I had with myself. And it made me emotional while I was up there. And it's something that stood out to me for the majority of the trip, the rest of the trip. And again, it's obvious, like, yeah, man, this place is gonna be here for a long time. It has been here for a long time. Like, yeah, the earth is gonna change and things are gonna be disrupted and blah, 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 blah. Like, there used to be an ice age. I get that, right? It's just like, damn, like, this is where I'm at right now in the world. This is only gonna be here for an X amount of time. It's just nice to see it for what it is and just being present. So just a little moment I want to share. I mean, it was sick. I don't really know how to describe it. I have trouble articulating myself sometimes, but just wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, so we'll move on from here. So just want to also go over like a few of my takeaways, which I like to also talk about when I speak to friends and family about the van trip. So one of the biggest takeaways was my increase in self-confidence. There was a lot of downs, a lot of highs, right? But a lot of lows. And also not just during the trip, but before the trip, building the van, planning it, kind of trusting myself and believing in myself that I can do this. I can build this van. I can take this trip. I can, take care of me and Kate and make sure that we're safe in the country, right? Because we don't know where we're going, essentially. And it was a lot of pressure, but the fact that I was able to do it and really experience no problems with our safety, right? A few, sure, crazy things happen, like our solar panels completely collapsed or like flipped up and we lost 2 solar panels, and there was a bunch of other things in between, right? Where the car would break down and this and that, and just the fact that I was able to do all of this off of my own like drive and my own wit and just make something happen and come back home safely, like that was such a big confidence booster, and it just propelled me to do even more, right? Anytime I'm struggling with something, I just can always go back to that and understand, like, dude, you made this happen, right? There's nothing else you can't do really that's gonna be harder than what you just did. And I think having that, I guess that chip on my shoulder is something that will support me for the rest of my life and my career and my personal life, whatever the case may be. It's just something that it's nice to be able to call back to that and have my confidence come from something real and something tangible. The other thing I learned, which was another big takeaway, was just simple, the balance of what really matters in life. And I was very work orientated, career orientated, and hey, I need to be in this place at this part of my life and X, Y, and Z. And that trip opened my eyes even more to the reality of life and understanding, again, yeah, that stuff matters, but it also really doesn't, right? And I'm thankful for that, because I was in a really negative place before I took the trip mentally. which I didn't share with a lot of people. I was just, you know, you push through it, and I know that one day I'll feel better. So there was just moments, again, it was like, it'd be like a Tuesday, 9 a.m. and I'm cruising down the mountains on the west coast of California, just like no worries in the world. We're about to pull over, have some breakfast, like on the side of the road, have an ocean view, crisp air just hitting me. Like it was just like, dude, this is what being alive is. Like there was no emails, no pressure of getting this done, no like, you know, like little battles or political things that I was dealing with. It was just purely being alive, surviving, and enjoying the world that we are on. So a big takeaway for me. And again, I don't regret the trip whatsoever, and I would do it again if I could. Oh boy, I hope this video isn't too long. If it is, I hope you're like still here and enjoying the video. So let me just push through this real quick. We're getting towards the end. Things I would do differently is the next thing I want to talk about. So pretty simple. The first thing I would do differently is plan the type of content I would do. So I struggled big time. I talked about it earlier, but I struggled big time on what type of content I wanted to make, like for YouTube, for TikTok and Instagram, and then my photography. I kind of knew the photography I wanted to do, what kind of project I wanted to work on, but I didn't know like, hey dude, what do I do for YouTube? Like, is it like an everyday thing? Do I post once a week, twice, like once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, just kind of recapping what we did? When do I pull the camera out? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm also trying to shoot photos, but I got to shoot videos, and I want to make the video cinematic, like using those two sides of my brain. That's what it felt like the video side is here and the photo side is here. So it was hard to continuously switch. And then for like short form videos, Instagram and TikTok, yo, do I turn my camera vertically, or do I just edit the horizontal stuff and make that vertical? Like, what should I do? Should I do trendy stuff? Should I do my own thing? I would organize that, right? Sorry for rambling, but that's basically how my head felt at all times in the very beginning of the trip. But what I would do now is what I basically did at the end of the van trip. I would use short form video, Instagram, TikTok, just record on my phone, regular everyday stuff of being in the van and traveling. I would use YouTube, maybe a video once a week or once every 2 weeks, long form kind of recap of what we've been doing. And then I would do a new photo project where it isn't just landscapes, but it would be a bit more personal and a bit more about van life and not just the destinations that we were at. As far as the van, dude, I'm doing a bigger van. Next time, like if I do it again, bigger van, it's getting a shower, and I would redo the bed setup where it's almost like, I know you guys have probably seen it, but it's like 2 benches with a table, and then it can like close into a full bed. That's what I would do, because we didn't get to really hang out in the van because we didn't have space to hang out. Again, bigger van, higher ceiling, have it so that we can actually hang out and chill in there, and then have a shower in it. And now that I've done electric work and water work and all that when we were building the van, it's pretty easy to build a shower in there. So that's the only difference I would do with the van. And probably throw a motorcycle on the back, like, you know, something light, nothing crazy, just a little motorcycle, maybe like a little 400 on the back of the van. But yeah, I think that's the only differences I would do. But I can't forget this. If I were to be in a van again, it would be long term, right? Couple years. I would add a heater, because I took out the first one like an idiot, thinking we weren't gonna be somewhere in the winter. Yeah, man, you're gonna, like, things happen, plans change. So I would add a heater to run its, you know, on a whole different system, so that we can actually be somewhere in the winter and not freeze and have to layer like dude, we would have beanies, hoodies, t-shirt, long shirts under, like long johns, and then like long john pants, some sweatpants, double socks, sometimes gloves. Like, dude, it was so cold sometimes. So I would add a heater in the van to run while we are sleeping, because like, dude, you need that. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's what the van life was. I mean, it was a great time. I'm super thankful that I had the opportunity to do that, and that I had the guts to do it, and that my girlfriend was also down and she had the guts to do it. Because that's something I get to hold on to for the rest of my life, and have photos and have videos of it, and just, you know, insane thing, honestly. But I will end it on this. I still have photos and I still have videos that I haven't done anything with it. I have compiled my favorite photos, and I will do a photo book. I want to do a photo book. I want to have it so that my friends and family can have it in their house, on their coffee table, or maybe I can sell it to friends and whatnot, have it on my website. That's the goal. I really need to like tighten up and get that done. And then the next thing obviously is prints. I've had a lot of friends reach out to me that they want to buy photos. And it's so nice knowing that my artwork, things that I found beautiful, other people find beautiful, and it's hanging in their house right now. So if you are interested in getting a print, you can always DM me on Instagram. If you have my number, shoot me a text, let me know what you would want, and we can get that set up and get that shipped to you. Definitely look forward for the photo book. It's in the works. I just got to make it happen. I really got to tighten up, maybe early next year. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you for this long video. If you're still watching, I'm hoping it's not 20 minutes, but honestly, Grainy Days be posting like 30-minute videos. And I love when he does that because I watch the whole thing. So that's kind of what's kind of helping me get through this and making it a long video. So again, appreciate you guys watching. I will be making another video next week, hopefully. I'm really trying to get this together. If this YouTube thing works, just saying, I'm getting a van. Like, I'm out. You know what I mean? George, if you're watching this, my bad, bro. George is my boss. So, all right, y'all. Deuces. Let me know when you're recording.
Recording.
All right, backflip.
Oh! I can't with these boots.
Wait, one more time.
I don't think you should.
All right, one more time. I didn't tuck. You ready?
Okay.
All right, 1, 2.
No!
Oh, I can't.
No! You're done. You're done. Oh no. How is it being old?
These boots are too heavy.